We're starting in Chicago and traveling to St. Louis along old Route 66.
And sharing the tools you need to take the trip in this two-part Route 66 podcast through the great state of Illinois. As Route 66 celebrates its 100th anniversary, it's a great time to take a road trip. And Illinois has some of the best preserved spaces and places along the route. From iconic drive-ins to the chilling Joliet Prison, classic soda shops, and fabulous fried chicken, we'll dive into traveling this historic route in modern times. It's the Travels with Darley podcast, where I take you on the road with locals as the guides to reveal hidden gems and top travel finds you might want to experience on your next vacation. I'm Darley Newman, and I host and produce the long-running PBS and streaming series, Travels with Darley. I'm also the author of the Revolutionary Road Trip book, and I can't wait to share my first-hand insights from the Mother Road with you. Let's go! We're traveling an iconic American highway chock full of history and nostalgia, Route 66. Route 66 extends around 2,400 miles from Chicago to Santa Monica. I'll be taking you from Chicago to St. Louis on Route 66 in this two-part podcast series. We'll meet locals along the route who have made it their mission to preserve the history of this scenic road trip route, which dates back to 1926. We'll also meet the communities who live along the Mother Road today. It's about the people when you travel, and along Route 66 in Illinois, you will meet some of the coolest people, and they really care about preserving small businesses and history. There's also really good food. You can use this podcast to take a trip from the comfort of wherever you're listening, because you're going to hear the sounds and voices from the places that I visited personally. I captured these while on location for my PBS series Travels with Darley, and I'm remaking it into this podcast so that you can take the audio version and listen to it in the car as you travel the route yourself to find those places you don't want to miss. You can take a trip just by listening to this podcast. We're starting in the city of Chicago, Illinois, at the street sign marking the beginning of Route 66. It's located right across from the Art Institute of Chicago, at the intersection of Adams Street and Michigan Avenue. In 2026, the famous route gained an extension, officially beginning at Chicago's Navy Pier. Kind of fun since the route ends at the Santa Monica Pier in California. If you've checked out the sign and worked out an appetite, you can stop for a sweet treat because you're just around the corner from the Palmer House, today a Hilton Hotel, a place where you can dine on a delicious brownie. The story goes that the first brownie was created in the Palmer House kitchen in the late 19th century. I made a stop here and had a brownie, and I will tell you, it's fun. I always combine food with exploration. It helps to work off those calories. So if you're leaving the Palmer House and you walk back towards the Art Institute, you can see some of Chicago's many green spaces. If you take a stroll through Grant Park to Buckingham Fountain, which opened to the public just a year after Route 66 was launched, as part of the nation's first federal highway system.
Buckingham Fountain is one of the largest fountains in the world, and it might remind you of being in Versailles because it was modeled after the fountains in Versailles.
Lou Mitchell's, which has been welcoming guests to dine since 1923, is a great throwback for coffee and eggs before you head out of town. Many families and groups drive Route 66 today, seeking to enjoy a vacation that combines travel and adventure with history, cuisine, and culture. Just about a half hour outside of Chicago, depending on the traffic, you can make a stop at a park that's family-friendly and a fun place to stretch your legs, especially if you've got the kids in tow. The Route 66 playground at Harvester Park in Burr Ridge.
The sounds of kids having fun at a playground, you know it's a good playground. This playground combines fun with learning about stops along old Route 66. You can even slide through various states on your adventures here.
Yes, indeed. But for adults, I don't recommend the slide.
I shot out of there like a cannon.
A few minutes away, you can make another stop for exceptional fried chicken at Dell Chicken Basket. It's been around since 1946, and you may have seen it featured on hit shows like Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Or you can drive less than 15 minutes to White Fence Farm, a restaurant located along Old Route 66 in Romeoville. They've been serving chicken since 1954. I've dined at both places, and you can't lose with either. If you do decide to go to White Fence Farm, you can snap photos outside with a larger-than-life cow and chicken statues. Maybe even say hello to farm animals before marveling inside at the multiple antique cars, along with a collection of antiques including hood ornaments, grandfather clocks, bicycles, snow globes, typewriters.
Not a lot of places are still around 69 years later that you grew up in. I'm the third generation here at White Fence Farm. My grandparents started it.
That's the owner, Laura Hastert. She sat down with me and a heaping plate of fresh, never frozen, flash fried chicken. Say that 3 times. Corn fritters, coleslaw, cottage cheese, kidney bean salad, and pickled beets. And she shared the story of this family business.
So the chicken we get in whole, and then we dust it with a pastry flour, a secret pastry flour. We pressure cook it, and then when you order it, we flash fry it. It's known in the area as the healthiest fried chicken you could eat.
It's just tender on the inside, crunchy on the outside, a little bit salty and savory, but also so light.
There's no batter, it's just dusted with a real thin pastry flour. This is definitely a landmark in the area. I mean, we get thousands of people through here in a week that come and say, our grandparents passed on, but we still come here for Grandma's birthday every year because we did since we were young. It gives me goosebumps because they do. Their whole families come here.
So a special place.
A special place. Like I said, a landmark in the area.
Drive just 20 more minutes, and you're in Joliet. Located just 35 miles from Chicago, Joliet is home to the Chicagoland Speedway, the historic Rialto Theater, the Joliet Area Historical Museum, and much history and fodder related to Route 66. And lest you think that Route 66 is all about nostalgic places, the Mother Road has diverse historic sites open to travelers, and one of the most unique is the old Joliet Prison. It operated from 1858 until 2002, and today is open for guided and self-guided tours. You might know it from the movie The Blues Brothers. They filmed here. Or the show Prison Break. Lots of movies and TV shows have filmed at this site. And it's just one of those places in America where time stood still when it closed. It's pretty eerie. They're working on restoring this historic property. And on my visit, I got the chance to interview Greg Purebolt, the CEO. We walked in the shadow of the East Cell House.
It feels massive to me.
Yeah, so it was massive when it was built, even by today's standards. We have 16 acres inside the walls here. It was built to be the only prison that the state of Illinois would ever need in 1858. The story of the Joliet Prison is a story of wanting to do better, a story of reform. In the early days, there was little thought to how can we help address root causes of why you're here. And then as time went on, a lot of that started right here at the Joliet Prison.
I could be doing a self-guided tour right now.
Self-guided tours are very popular, and the solitude, I think, is something that helps impact the visitor.
One of the world's best abandoned places right here in Joliet.
That's us.
While you're in Joliet, you might also want to make a stop by the Rich and Creamy to get ice cream. It's also a great place for photo ops. This ice cream place oozes nostalgia. It also has Jake and Elwood, the Blues Brothers, on the roof with a retro sign. Joliet may be a good place for you to stay for the night, but you can also continue along Route 66 to Wilmington. It's just 20 more minutes, where there's another great spot for a photo op. It's located at 201 Bridge Street, the Gemini Giant. At 30 feet tall, these 1960s Muffler Man statues were once alongside attractions along Route 66. They played up the theme of space exploration research, popular in the area. Today, the Gemini Giant is located by the landing pad, where you can find your Route 66 souvenirs before continuing your drive. It's just a few more minutes to another classic food stop, the Polka Dot Drive-In in Braidwood. I visited this place twice, and each time I was here, I got the chance to observe classic cars in the parking lot, like a 67 Golf Mustang Racer, a 1966 Chevy Impala, an AMX car. I definitely suggest grabbing a burger, fries, and a shake, and checking out the Blues Brothers, Elvis, Betty Boop, and other fun memorabilia that's here at this diner. It's a diner that's been around for more than 50 years. Back on the route, you don't want to miss a stop at the Ambler-Becker service station, which operated longer than any other service station on Route 66. For 66 years, actually, starting in the 1930s. Travelers would stop by here when they needed their tire changed, their car serviced, or they just needed some gas. It was kind of a wayfare point on old Route 66, and it's still standing today, which is pretty remarkable. It's been well restored, listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and is just another great place for photo ops. Do step inside if you can. You might find a map where all the visitors who have passed through have made their mark on this historic gem.
This is wild. These are all people that have visited the station just this summer and have come in and put pins in here. Angola! I love this. Cool.
That's part of the beauty of traveling Route 66 in Illinois. So many people from all over the world adventure here to drive this historic route, and Chicago's an easy place to fly into to start your drive. We're driving from here on to Pontiac, where I'll see you on the next podcast to continue our Route 66 journey on through the rest of the state of Illinois and ending in St. Louis. We've got a lot to cover coming up, from the Route 66 Hall of Fame and Museum to street art to a national park site in Springfield and cozy hot dogs. You got that right. It's the Travels with Darley podcast in honor of Route 66 and the magic of the all-American road trip. I'm Darley Newman. Thanks for listening.